This video will instruct users on how to document a standard visit as a CNA. You will log into the Mobile Edge app on your HopeWest mobile phone. Per best practice, before you arrive to the visit, you should always be reviewing your plan of care and looking at the patient chart for any important information or changes before you go out. Mobile Edge will track your time and will track your mileage for your patient visits. When you arrive to your visit, you will open Mobile Edge and you will check in. This starts your clock and this also captures your location. A quick overview of how the mileage works in Mobile Edge. Mobile Edge pings your current location based off of Google Maps every time you check in and check out. This is why it's important to be on site at the correct address when you are checking in for your visit. For example, as I check in for my visit with Hermione, it's going to track my current location at that moment, and it's going to calculate the mileage from the office since this is my first visit for the day. As I check out of Hermione from the same location before I leave, it's going to ping that location again. I drive to my next visit with Rubeus, and I check in there. It's going to take that route from Google Maps, the best recommended route from Hermione to Rubeus, and it's going to calculate that mileage and add it to my day. It is important to make sure that you have fully checked in before you start your visit, and we'll talk a little bit more about mileage as we go through this training video. I'm going to go see Hermione. I will check in. If you're connected, it will sync to ensure that you're pulling in the most current information. You may receive a geofence warning. This is because the system has detected your location and thinks that you are too far away, potentially, for this visit. Please be aware that you can still document when this warning comes up. You may get this warning even if you are at the correct location. For example, if your patient is at a trailer park, but they are at the very back of the trailer park and Google Maps detects the location at the very front of the trailer park, you may get this warning. Please proceed with your documentation as normal as you confirm that you're checking in for the right patient. It's also a double check. If you're accidentally checking in for the wrong patient, you would be at the wrong address. So this is just a safety net. In this case, I'm going to say yes, it's truly Hermione that I'm seeing, and I will continue. For most visits, you won't receive that message, and you will just arrive to this visit in progress screen. Let's talk about this visit in progress screen. I have my patient name at the top, and it says visit in progress. I see the date and my check-in time, and that's me saying this visit starts at 9:39. And now I can see my clock is running. My visit has started. Let's go in and take care of the patient. You are able to lock your phone and set it aside as you go in to provide your cares, and this clock will continue to run. While in this visit in progress screen, it's important that you don't hit the red X to leave the screen, or it's going to save your visit for later or delete your visit. If you accidentally checked in for the wrong patient, go ahead and delete the visit. If you need to get out of this visit and save it for later, you can do so here. However, that's not recommended except in urgent situations. I will cancel. It's also important that you don't hit your phone's system back button here. Otherwise, it will kick you out of your visit and your clock will stop running. You can still finish your documentation, but you'll have to adjust your time. We'll go over that here shortly. When in the visit, I can navigate to the patient chart from the top right corner. And I can view any information that I might need during my visit. Important, use the top left arrow to go back and not the back arrow on your phone. There are 3 items here that we will talk about. First is the actual V8 CNA plan of care note. This is the nurse's plan of care in place and how you will document. Let's walk through documenting. I'll click to open my note. And your first field is going to be client information. In the brackets here, we have a note provided by the nurse. This is where your nurse will tell you any extra information that you might need to know about this patient. Mobile Edge does require a response to every item on the plan of care to make sure we're in compliance. You can type in reviewed, okay, something along those lines to acknowledge this information. If you need to clear out the info, you can quickly do so using this button. To toggle to the next question, you'll click the right arrow. I can see if the patient is a DNR. And any other special information provided by the nurse, I can just hit completed. You notice that as I hit completed, the system automatically prompts me to the next question. Here we have the one detail field. In this field, you will put in the one detail that you learned about this patient or family at this visit. Remember, the one detail is not clinical information, but more of a connecting piece on what's going on in their lives. Once I fill out my narrative, I will click over to the next item. As mentioned, every item is going to be mandatory. However, I can see the nurse instructs me that I don't need to do weight every time, once per month. If it's time for me to take the weight, I'll go ahead and put it in. However, if it's not time, just put in NA, and then you can move past that question. Some questions will require you to pick the response from the patient. What pain level did they report? I'll say 8. Hermione told me her pain was at an 8. But I need to provide the nurse and the team with a little bit more information than that. Anytime you need to add an additional comment to your plan of care documentation, navigate to the comment icon, which is this little piece of paper. When I click it, I can write the details about my response. And then I can save it. You'll notice that the icon changed from the paper icon to indicate I've put in a comment. You can go back and edit that at any time. Now let's say I want to see what else is in my plan of care. I don't want to go one by one. Maybe the patient just had a bowel movement and I want to jump to that section of the care plan. This magnifying glass serves a couple of purposes. I can see every item on my care plan. I can search for an item in my care plan, but I also can see which items I have not responded to yet with this red exclamation point. I'll jump to bowel movement. Yep, she had one today. If I needed to go back and change an answer, I can do that at any time. So be mindful that this is all live. You can update it until you sign it. Observations reported to nurse. I'm going to notate any observations that I did report to my nurse regarding this visit. And you can add your comments as appropriate. Comments at the end of visits. You have another opportunity to add additional details as you're wrapping up your visit. And the final field will be your visit summary. Please provide details regarding your visit with this patient. As a reminder, you'll see a variety of different fields on your plan of care. This is just an example. All the functionality is the same. I'm going to jump to the Assist Bed Bath section of our care plan. We have 3 options for some of these tasks, these cares: completed, not completed, and refused. If the patient had refused the care, you can simply mark refused. However, if the care was not completed for any other reason besides refusal, you need to explain why you aren't providing that care. This will help us remain in compliance. The system will not allow you to move on until you explain why this care wasn't provided. In this case, the patient already got a bath, so I'm not going to do that again today. Now, once I think I'm done with my documentation, I will hit the left top green check mark. Oh, hold on, I've got a warning. I missed a mandatory field. Are you sure you want to leave the form? No, I need to complete all of my documentation. When I click no, it's going to tell me exactly what I missed. Now I can go into that, finish my documentation, and try the green check mark again. I'll be brought back to the visit in progress screen. Note that my visit time has been running this whole time. Documentation is complete, so let's move to the next item, add signature. Hope West does not require signatures, so you'll get to skip right over this field. Let's look at travel exceptions. What are travel exceptions? As I mentioned before, the mileage that Mobile Edge calculates is based off of the best route in Google Maps. So to make sense of this, if you were to type in one patient address and then type in the next patient address, whatever that primary route Google Maps presents to you is what Mobile Edge is calculating their mileage off of. So let's say that driving to see Hermione, there was massive construction and I had to take a 5-mile detour. I want to get paid for that mileage. But because Mobile Edge isn't tracking every moment of your transportation, it's only tracking your check-in and check-out, it's not going to catch that extra 5 miles. Travel exceptions will be used by you during your visit if you need to adjust your mileage or if you need to adjust your time or any other adjustments to your visit. If you don't have travel exceptions, you will just proceed with checking out. Let's go ahead and enter some travel exceptions. Did you encounter any travel exceptions? I'm going to say yes. Why? Construction. Travel adjustment time, it was 10 extra minutes and I had to go 5 extra miles. This is going to allow the business office to add on that mileage to our visit. Does this activity require any other adjustments? Maybe not. Hit no. Let's say that I clocked in at the wrong time. I got 5 minutes into my visit and forgot to check in. Let's say I forgot to check in at the right time. I got to my visit, I started my cares and thought, oh gosh, I didn't check into Mobile Edge, and so that's 5 minutes off of my time. I'll hit yes, and this is where I can add information. Adjust start time to 8:05, or whatever the adjustment is. What was the reason? Well, I forgot to check in. It happens. Save your adjustments using the green check mark in the top left corner. And now you've saved your documentation and your travel exceptions. The final 2 buttons are the checkout and the exceptions, not to be confused with travel exceptions. Travel exceptions capture adjustments to your mileage or time. Exceptions override your visits. You don't fill out the plan of care. This is what you would use if they refused your visit or the patient was deceased. We will cover that in a moment. In this case, I've finished my documentation and my exceptions, so I will check out. The visit checkout screen will give you an opportunity to review the information and review your documentation. Take a moment to review everything on this screen. You will be asked if this is your last activity of the day. If you know you have additional visits scheduled, go ahead and hit no. If you think this is your last activity for the day, click yes. It's not a huge deal if you click yes and then end up getting called out for another visit. Don't worry, just hit yes again on your next visit. Once it's all reviewed, click Save Visit. The visit has been saved. You will be brought back to your home screen. You'll notice a couple of new items. Visit not synced in the top left corner. Hermione now says completed under her name. You'll notice the times now reflect my actual visit time as well. What this means is that your visit documentation has been saved to your device, but it has not been sent back to Suncoast yet, so the nurses, your teammates can't see this information yet. When you're in an area of good connectivity, go ahead and hit that sync button in the top right corner, and it will send that information back to Suncoast. Now, you'll notice that it says pending for Hermione. This is okay. There's no action needed on your behalf. What this means is a couple of things. For example, when I checked in, there was a geofence warning because I'm 8,000 feet away from Hermione. Anytime there's a geofence warning, the business office just has to review and check your location and make sure that that's all squared away, and then they can approve it. You also might get that pending status if you had any travel exceptions, that mileage or time adjustment. Pending just means it's in an inbox for the team to review and correct before it's finalized. If there were no corrections or warnings, you won't get a pending status. The status will say approved. This covers documenting a standard CNA visit with a patient in Mobile Edge.